Welcome, folks, to part 2 of visiting Spirit planes in the Arizona desert. I'm over here in Goodyear, Arizona at the Goodyear airport in the middle of the desert, literally. I promised you in part 1 that I was going to take you to the other side, and here we are. Now, for a spoiler alert, over there in just a few minutes to do a talk on that. That's where there are many aircraft just sitting there in the desert, once again, for either scrap, for either just indefinite sitting there, or to maybe be sold for parts or for other companies. But to start off, before I take you over here to the other side of that gate, because there's going to be a lot to see there, and I mean a lot to see there. Over here you can already see many Spirit planes, a few Frontier planes, and all kinds of planes from other aircraft, but the majority of them are coming from Spirit Airlines. But I also want to take you here, and we're over here we're actually getting a pretty good view over here of a plane that is from Spirit Airlines that is completely intact. Actually, I believe this plane may have been flying maybe about a week ago or so. This one right here, just a beautiful sight to see from an airline that was flying just 2 weeks ago that no longer exists. And I know that many of us have flown this airline in the past because this airline was the epitome of budget travel. This aircraft's intact, but over there, right behind it, you can see a plane that with like the tail ripped off, like half ripped off again. And over here, I want to get a load of this. Over here, you have a whole bunch of Spirit and ironically Frontier engine parts, which are just sitting here in the boneyard, just sitting here. And I believe these are going to be sold for parts. Now, it's kind of ironic that, most of these are from Spirit, but you have a few of these that are actually from Frontier Airlines as well. And that, for example, right here, this is from Frontier. And this is kind of ironic because Frontier Airlines is actually still flying. Frontier Airlines is actually going to be expanding on a lot of what Spirit left behind as the remaining budget carrier. But over here, you can just see over here just a whole bunch of Spirit and Frontier airline parts. You can see it over here. It even says Spirit Airlines right there. And these are all engine parts right here from Spirit and Frontier. I don't know why Frontier is here too, but this is just kind of an ironic, maybe a testament of things to come. God forbid, hopefully not. But these engine parts are going to be sold for scrap or sold for parts or whatever. Maybe used with other aircraft. I have no idea what's going to happen with them. But now I'm going to take you over to the boneyard, the actual boneyard. Over here is where you can see the actual boneyard, and you're going to see a whole bunch of, I know there's sunny, I'm really facing the direction of the sun, but you can see a whole bunch of Spirit planes over here. Let me try to give you as close of a view as possible. A helicopter literally just landed there, but you can see a whole bunch of Spirit planes that are just right there, just sitting there in the Arizona desert. And as we know, the pilots of these planes were actually told to fly their own aircraft over to the desert for indefinite storage, which must have been a very emotional moment for them, obviously. But as you can see over here, we're going to see a whole graveyard. First of all, you're going to see these two Spirit planes here, but then right above there, you're going to end up seeing a whole graveyard of Spirit planes over there on the other side. And I'm not sure how clear the view is. But you can see, there's a few small aircraft taking off, some workers there. But, the two Spirit Airlines here, look at that tail. It's just been totally ripped apart. But you're going to see a whole graveyard of Spirit planes right over there. And those are all, Spirit planes me and you and all of us used to fly, The yellow bananas, the taxis of the sky, etc. The budget bananas, whatever you want to call them. I've flown Spirit so many times in my life. As a budget traveler myself, I've flown Spirit so many times in my life throughout Florida to Boston, Tampa, Fort Lauderdale, Dallas, Texas. I've flown them in Phoenix, Arizona, Vegas, Nevada, California, New York, Nashville, Tennessee. And now these planes are just sitting here as a memory, of the pioneer of budget travel right over here. And they're just sitting here in the boneyard, either to rot indefinitely or to be sold for scraps or to be sold for parts or to eventually be sold off to another airline or private company. But you can see these two here, which are really close, and you can see the whole boneyard over there. And it's not just Spirit planes. There are other airlines too. You're going to see quite a few wide-body jets as well. wide body jets coming from different airlines, which I don't really know which airlines they're coming from, but this is just a powerful part of the aviation past that it's just like a whole book closed on a major part of aviation. Spirit was the pioneer of budget travel, and you see these other wide body jets, 777s, 747s or A380s, whatever they are, from whatever airline, mostly international, just sitting there rotting indefinitely for who knows how long, to either be sold for scrap or to be sold off or to just rot and die or whatever. And you're just going to see, even over here, I want to take you back over here. You're even going to see, I want to give you a little bit of a view here, but you're going to see two Frontier Airlines planes here. Now, if you can see there, the animal on that one is the swan, the pink flamingo. That one actually has flown me to San Juan in the past. San Juan, Puerto Rico, which is ironic because my last Spirit flight was to San Juan, Puerto Rico. But we have two Frontier Airlines planes sitting here in the desert, the pink flamingo and another animal. Can't really tell which one it is. But you have all these other Spirit planes just sitting there, everywhere. And it's just quite an emotional moment, quite an emotional thing to see, It's just a whole lot of them. This is just quite an unforgettable sight here. I want to just give my salute to Spirit Airlines, salute to the flight attendants and the captains and everybody who, built this airline and everybody who helped make budget travel happen for so many of us Americans and for so many of us people who depend on this, And, I'm just saluting Spirit Airlines. Thank you for your legacy and thank you for your years of service. Thank you guys for watching, folks. Again, I'm coming to you live once again from the Arizona desert, in Goodyear, Arizona. This is just an unforgettable sight. We're at the Phoenix Goodyear Airport. Thank you for watching. This is Javier here. Like and subscribe and tuning out.